The city of Houston received another financial downgrade last week. What does it mean for the city and for you? City Controller Chris Brown is here. A mammogram may save a woman's life. The breast health organization, The Rose, has a way for 500 women to get free mammograms to detect breast cancer. And how Houston is helping Flint get through their water woes, and how you can help as well on Houston Newsmakers.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
Good morning and happy Easter and welcome to Houston Newsmakers. All during last fall's election cycle, we heard a great deal about Houston's finances. Last week, we read that another rating service had downgraded Houston's rating again. What does that mean? Short-term and long-term, and what's being done as a reaction to this latest information? Chris Brown was elected as city controller in November in part because of his announced plans to aggressively keep the city's financial status on the front burner. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you being here because I know that with these downgrades, I started looking into it, and as I looked into it, it was kind of like small print because the downgrade was from extremely strong to very strong. So for a layman, it's like, well, that's not very much. What's the small print that we're missing there?
Well, basically, the most recent downgrade came from Moody's. They downgraded us from a AA2 to a AA3. The interesting thing about that is that they also put us on a negative outlook. They had done that last summer, put us on the negative outlook, but they didn't downgrade us. So this time they downgraded us and added the negative outlook. So it's a continued call to action for the leadership down at City Hall to start addressing some of these long-term financial challenges that we have. It shortens that timeline, I think, that we need to act.
From what I was reading, though, it didn't indicate that the city is still not viable. I mean, it seemed to say city's looking good in a lot of different ways, but you need to start addressing some of these things that we're making a point about.
That's exactly right. The city is still a great credit. We're a AA credit, so very much investment grade. We had a pricing actually on Tuesday. It was a very great pricing. We actually had more buyers than we anticipated. We did a refunding that saved about $49 million to the taxpayers. So it was a good test after the downgrade to see how the market would react to buying our commercial paper, our bonds.
I want to ask about that in a second as well, but a part of what the downgrade was talking about, there were a couple of things they were pointing to. Pension costs, revenue cap that seems to limit the property tax collections. What's being done to address those things? And I know one of your goals is to keep that in the forefront so people don't not address it.
Right. Well, really, the big thing that they said about this most recent downgrade is the downturn in oil prices, which is something that's out of our control. Things that we can control, at least from the controller's perspective, are refunding the debt because we have a savings of interest costs by doing those refundings. As far as pensions and the revenue cap, we need to work to find a consensus-built solution to our long-term pension challenges. I know the mayor has talked about this theme of shared sacrifice and is currently working with all of the stakeholders to identify a solution that everyone mutually can agree upon.
I know revenue for a long time looked like it was doing pretty well. Of course, the oil situation has changed some of that, so the receipts, so to speak, that you would get go down a bit. Cost cutting, the mayor's talked about cutting costs as well. Right. I noticed that the recycling efforts, for example, seem to be part of that as well. How much more can the city do in that regard to shore things up?
Well, for this fiscal year, we are looking at a balanced budget, and this fiscal year will end June 30th. The next fiscal year, fiscal year 17 starts July 1st. That's really where the challenge begins, and we're estimating between $140 and $160 million budget deficit.
And that's up from where it was even a few months ago.
It is, and because of the continued downturn in sales tax receipts as a result of low oil prices. So we have continued to see, and I know people that are watching the news see almost every night oil prices down. Well, that's affecting the city revenues, and so that's having an effect on our outlook for budgets in the out years.
What's more important to get a handle on, the revenue issues, the cap that's there, or the pension issues?
Well, I think, you know, you have to work on things that you can control. At this point, we have a referendum that initiated the revenue cap, short of putting that back out to the voters and allowing them to decide, but ultimately it would be the voters deciding. The pensions, I think, is the more near-term solution that we need to put in place, because we have the opportunity to talk with all the stakeholders, bring them together. And I think the political capital is there now. People understand that, this isn't sustainable. It's something that's hurting the city. But we want to come up with a fair and equitable solution that everyone can agree upon, because I think long-term, if it's not something that's mutually agreed upon, it will not, as I say, stand the legal test, and therefore it won't be an ultimately good solution.
State legislature has a big role to play in all of this, do they not, in terms of the pension pie?
They do, and we will, and that's part of the issue on the timing front, is that we will need to get a mutually agreed upon plan. We'll have to get that to the state legislature, which convenes next year, and actually we, I think, can file as early as the fall of this year. We want to try and do that sooner rather than later, and I think that the mayor has done and laid some great groundwork. His experience in the legislature will lend itself to be able to have a success there.
Is there something on the table now in the city that we don't know about, where agreements have been made, that they are ready to kind of go forward and say, okay, this is good?
Yeah, nothing formalized, but I know that there have been discussions. I have been in discussions with the mayor. I know he's been talking with the council members about some alternatives, and I think the discussions are heading in the right direction. But again, I reinforce the fact that the time for action is now. We need to address this situation now, while we can, and make incremental change. Because if we put this off for much longer, we're not going to be able to have a small fix that will have a great impact.
How did we get here? Did we get here just because it was a kick the can down the road mentality?
It was a combination of factors. Obviously, the 2008-2009 financial crisis helped to compound it. The current oil markets also compound that. But really, changes that were made in benefit structures, and if you're specifically talking about pensions back in 2001, those were a lot more costly than we had estimated. So now you look 15 years down the road and we're paying 3 times the amount that we thought initially we would be paying. So that's a big driver of it. All other costs that have risen just as a result of the city growing. The revenue cap does create additional pressures, in the sense that the city's growing, the tax base is increasing, but we can't take advantage of that. So
how optimistic are you we can get these things resolved, that we don't have to start closing up shop?
I'm very optimistic. I think we have a new regime, so to speak. The mayor's offering great leadership on this. Council members, I believe, regardless of where your party lines fall, even though it's not traditionally a partisan council, they're in agreement that we've got a financial problem. We need to work to solve it. I'm being very vocal. I'm being very proactive about offering solutions and trying to help encourage the dialogue to get something put in place.
Well, you said you were going to be vocal. You are vocal, and now you're here as well, and we hope you'll come back and visit with us again, as we have things that we can talk about and let people know.
I look forward to that. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Go Horned Frogs. I had to get that in. Sorry.